Hey, welcome to the Learning to Lead podcast. I'm Paul Daugherty, your host, and it has been a while since we have recorded some episodes, but I'm excited to record several here this summer that I think are going to be very helpful for you as a leader in whatever type of leadership role you're in. Maybe you're a ministry leader, maybe you're a kids pastor, youth pastor, maybe you're a leader in business and finance, maybe at a bank or maybe in a school as a coach or teacher. And I believe that each of these topics we're going to cover this summer can apply to whatever leadership role you're in. Also, I want to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed to this podcast, subscribed to our YouTube channel, and that is sharing it with friends. Thank you. Because of you, more and more people are finding this podcast, this YouTube channel, and from that, more and more people are getting helped, getting encouraged, making changes in their life and in their leadership, and so that's good for everybody. So if you haven't subscribed and you haven't shared it with friends, please do that. And now we're going to dive into today's topic. I want to talk to you about being in a support role, being in a position where you're not in charge. You're not the key leader. You're there to help support the key leader. And the reason I'm talking about this and the reason I can talk about this is because that was my life all before stepping into this role of lead pastor. I supported my mom and dad. I supported my sisters. I supported my older brother. I supported my brother-in-laws. I supported my youth pastors, my kids pastors. I worked several jobs as a support role staff member where I was not in charge. I wasn't calling the shots. And I remember this one experience that kind of gave me a good learning lesson of what it's like to be in a support role and what that means, how to really do it well. This one time I was working as a media guy for my brother-in-law, and I was making videos and graphics for our college ministry, and I had been studying, trying to get better at that. I wasn't the best at it, and I worked really hard on this one video. I mean, like 13 hours. I remember how many hours I put in to make this announcement video for our college ministry service. My brother-in-law was the pastor. So he comes into, the room that he had put me in, this small little closet where I'm sitting on my laptop, my MacBook, and I've been working 13 hours editing this video that I had shot of some of our young adults doing announcements, and now I'm working on it. And I said, hey, I think I'm done. I've been, working hard, 13 hours on this 45-second video. He watches it and stops me in the middle of it and goes, this is a piece of crap. And I go, excuse me? And he goes, this is a piece of crap. And I go, what? And I was like, you're a piece of crap. I start shouting and I'm getting so angry. And I apologize for everyone who's listening to this that finds that word very offensive. But that was the reality in the moment. I'm not going to cover it up. I was so mad that he literally called my hard work that. And, I was like, your face is crap. I'm getting so mad. He's my brother-in-law and he's like, fine, you're fired. I was like, what? And anyways, long story short, he ended up rehiring me. I apologized and I said, hey, that's not fair. And he said, no. When you're in a support role, you can't get so easily hurt and offended when what you turn in is not what's needed. And you have to learn to be not so married to your personal preferences of what you're working on as if you're in charge of the content. Because at the end of the day, he was right. It was his service, and I was there to support his service. I wasn't there to tell him what to do. He was there to tell me what to do. And I think sometimes we miss it when we're in a support role. We feel like, to carry someone's load, they owe us tons of thanks. They owe us our, creative license to do whatever we want. And they really don't. I mean, they hired us. So in our job is to deliver what they want. Now, I know that sounds kind of unfair, and you might go, man, that sounds like a dictatorship. No, that's called work. That's called being in a support role. It's when you sit down. Now, could he have used some more gentle words? Yes. And I told him that. I said, next time, can you just say it's not what you want instead of calling it a piece of crap? And he laughed. He goes, yeah. He's like, you're my brother, though. And he's like, I thought we could, just be real. And I was like, yeah, well, being real was really frustrating me there and hurt my feelings. He's like, well, you need to get thicker skin. And he was right. I needed to get thicker skin. And I think sometimes, especially in the millennial generation, we get so easily offended and we quit job after job after job, and we wonder why God hasn't elevated us into a key leader role. It's because we haven't really learned how to be in a support role without getting offended every time someone says our work is not what they want. And so we've got to learn to have thick skin in a support role. And we've got to learn to take constructive criticism and maybe even sometimes some destructive criticism in a way that doesn't just burn us out. We're quitting every single job and we're blaming it all on the leaders that are in charge of us. Because at the end of the day, it is our job to make ourselves better at what we're doing. It's not their job. If I'm not getting better in my role, then maybe I shouldn't be working underneath that leader. I've got to develop myself, and I've got to take that constructive criticism and say, all right, what would you like? What can I get done for you? One of the best questions you can ask in a support role is, what do you want? But tell me what you want. Am I getting what you want? Am I delivering what you're asking for? That question is like, it's a love language to the leader that you're serving. And then in a support role, God didn't call you to give just half of your energy, half of your creative ideas, half of your passion, as if you're supposed to save the majority of it for one day when you're the leader. In a support role, give it all you got. Give the credit away, give the creativity away, give your passion. Don't just give half of it going, someday I'll give all of it when I'm the key leader. That's not a support role that God's called you to be in. God's called you to give your all. And I'm telling you, when you give your all, someday God will return that harvest back in your life, where God will begin to give you more creative ideas, more creative support, more opportunities for you to shine. But when you're in that role as a support person, whether it's a media person or lights or sound or serving in the youth ministry or kids ministry, and you've got a senior pastor above you or a senior leader in the university or campus or bank or whatever business you're a part of, go to your supervisor and say, am I doing what you want me to do? Am I delivering it? You say, Paul, that just feels like, I'm like their rug mat. They can step on me. No. That puts you in such a place of humility and submission, and God will not put you over something until you get under what he's already put over you. He's not going to give you more if you can't even be submitted to what he's put in charge of you. Those people that he's put as your leaders, your supervisors, they're responsible to God. And if they're treating you wrong or doing wrong things to you, they've got to answer to God for that. But your job is not to try to usurp their authority, criticize them, shake your fist, quit every job that people tell you what you should be doing. At the end of the day, get better. Get better. Keep asking them, how can I get better? How can I deliver what you're looking for in this role, in this way? And I would tell you this, go above and beyond with your honor. When you do that, God's going to continue to honor you. Go above and beyond. I want to give a shout out to the guys that helped make this podcast. They're standing behind the camera, behind this microphone, Mikkel and Zach. These two guys go above and beyond in their support role to serve this ministry. And they're constantly asking me, hey, how can we get better? How can we make this better? That makes me even more excited to work with them. If they were constantly rolling their eyes every time I had some constructive criticism, or if they were sighing or, shouting back at me, it would be a tough working relationship. And the sad thing is, that's how it is for a lot of support people with their leader. And it's not healthy. So at the end of the day, both people, and at the end of the day, you can't control how the leader responds, but you can control how you respond. In your role as a support person, just hold on to your attitude and say, you know what? I'm not going to roll my eyes. I'm not going to sigh. I'm not going to shout back. I'm not going to slander. I'm not going to gossip, because the seeds I sow in my support role will be the harvest I reap when I'm in the leadership role. So if I want all of that in return, then I've got to make sure that I'm sowing the right seeds. Hey, I hope that kind of helps. Maybe stir up the discussion. Ask some questions with someone else listening to this. Listen to this with your friends or your company or your ministry and say, how can we do a better job in our role as support staff to the leader that God's called us to follow and help fulfill the leader's vision that he's put us under. All right, love you so much. Your best days are right in front of you.